Time for some groundwork, ladies and gentlemen. What do we got here? Well, we slept here last night on the couch. I mean, on the mattress that we have over there. And just some place to get out of my head, I guess. Look at, got Chunks over there laying on the mattress. Just the most gorgeous animal alive, that's all. Yes, that's who you are, I know. But I know what you want. He's like, I want your food. All the food you have. Give it to me. So, oh my God. Trying to get the camera to flip back. Now we're just putting on our shoes. And we basically got everything kind of set up to how we want it. Now it's just to run. Now it's just to run the plank, throw her down. But first, wonder who was listening to the package ruffling. I kind of like these though. They're $1.50. Oh shit. What? Get it. I thought for sure he would catch it, but he is a little sometimes slow, but not so slow. He's usually quick. Quick to catch the food. Get this stuff here? There's a little bit. I love these drinks. Bee made. They're made with honey. Pretty good. Great way to start your day. Huh. So, that's the floor. We got to install. We've made our line. I'll kind of get into the whole what we've done in a few minutes here. But we're gonna be cutting around. There's like a little vent there. So this is the first row I've installed. And right now I probably don't need to eat as soon as I wake up, but I just, for whatever reason, felt the need to. Top of the morning to you. I gotta get into that state of mind that allows me to get ready to work. I was thinking of giving Chunks one of these cookies here. I figured, why not? What? My battery's dead? It's not. I don't know. It's just weird. Where the hell do these things come from? I just feel like I'm gonna spill my drink if I leave it like that. We got our shoes on, almost ready to work. Almost. Oh, we're getting a little here. Gotta get primed for work. Sure, this is the very bottom of what's in this thing, I guess. It's completely done. We're just getting ready for work, ladies and gentlemen. Just getting ready. I'm just the messenger. Look at Chunks, he's just sitting here like, oh, hopefully some food will fall. Hopefully some food will fall, he says. Look at him. Is that not the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen in your life? Look at this guy. Oh my God. Most gorgeous thing. Who do we got here? We got, I can't even pronounce it. I don't know why. But I'm just going to say hi. Thanks for all the love. Now everybody's left. I feel like I need more in this, but Chunks, you better watch you don't knock over my drink. I will be upset. This beautiful thing. Look at him. Oh my God, this guy. Just crop dusting the old lungs. Man, this dog is amazing. I love this animal. Look at him. Look at this beautiful thing. He's like, as long as I am close to him, there is no place So you won't find him. What a beautiful dog. Oh my God, he's thick and solid. Look at him. Oh. Say, please, sir. Give me a bit of the cookie. So I get these cookies. Wow, look at the reaction. As soon as that package got touched, I get these giant ladyfinger biscuits. Ladyfinger biscuits. These are like $1.25. They're low in sugar. There's like 9 grams of sugar per 2 cookies. So that's pretty good, other than a lot of other things. Usually the sugar content's way higher. Here, you can have it. Come on. Come on. Oh, there we go. It's broken now. It's even better. The wheel on my chair is broken. Yay. So I bought this at a thrift store here where I'm working. And Jesus, so close to death. You want some cookie? You just drooled on the floor. Where at? Well, it's good to know that that's broken now. Would have been shady to give it to somebody and then it break. That was the whole point of it all. So here we are. Alright, let's turn on some lights here. Kind of give you guys a rundown of what's going on. So I don't know if you can see, there's a line on the floor right there. And it actually goes all the way to the other end. What we did was, because the way we wanted to lay this floor out was more or less, I wanted the floor to sit roughly against that cabinet and go around. Now I know that a lot of the walls here aren't very straight because I used a square and made my line down there. And that line goes all the way through. You can kind of see it right here. Not here, here. I sanded a little bit over here. But I know the line goes through. So this is the first row in the back. And basically, this is how it sits. I had to cut this back piece off that one down there so that it fit in correspondence with the line. Yes, I know it's a floating floor. Yes, I know it's not going to stay in the same spot, but it's the reference point that I'm using to keep things aligned while I go around all this stuff. Then the next boards coming off of the closet or pantry are going to work their way in the kitchen. They'll be a lot easier. So, for now, I guess what I'm going to do, I'm going to extend my tripod because I've got this tripod legs that aren't tripoded out. So here we are. Got the tripod set up. And we're going to just kind of throw these ones in. So I know that the next one is, wait, I should actually keep that locked in while I move it because I gotta move it back. Pretty much where I gotta move it. And then this one goes here. That clicks in. And we got this other one. I should just clean this off before. Now the good thing about this floor is it already has the underside pad on it. So you don't have to lay any of it out, it's just there. I'm just vacuuming off some of the debris that's sitting on the floor while we were doing our now everything's nice and clean. Should just click in like that. Now usually, I don't have it yet, but I have that little piece to kind of knock it in. That one actually went in really nice, I gotta say. And you want a longer piece than this, but this is actually just to kind of tap it in for now. Then I'll come down to where this seam is. Now it's nicely clipped in. I could hit this edge in a little bit better now. Now it'll sit flat, nice and flat. Hit it by the joint. Everything clips nicely. And now, I was going to put, what was I going to? So we went that one, And then I did a 32. But you almost can't even see the joints on this. So I think I was doing a 32 here. But I want to go past this joint. And I think what we did was 16 and I was over here. So this one is going to be, just because you can only cut the end that's not going to be touching anything. So when I make this cut, it's for the entire row. Oh, and I think, okay, now I remember what I was doing. I was setting up this row. Look at how perfectly that works out. I think I was setting up this row. I think the whole board came, because these boards are 5 feet. So yeah, I cut this one at, it was 24. Yeah. I get 5 feet here. No. So I gotta go. I need my pencil. What I'm doing is I'm going 16, 32, 64. But I started this one to put, I had already cut these ones. So if I follow this line, I'm off on this line, but it doesn't really matter. More or less, I got 10 inches from here to here. And we've got a vent to cut. So we've got about 10.5 inches, right? And then if we went from here back, I think it was 16, but then I need a piece here. So if I go, 16 out, basically making it work so that we're, I want this piece to come past 16. Then I just got a little piece of that end there. So if I go from here to here, to split the difference, 16 is right there. What do we got from here to here? We got, oh, just under 5 feet actually. So one full plank. Basically, well, this one's already cut, I think, because I was cutting it for something else. I'll do this one. Yeah, that just about works there. So past that joint by a little bit more. So yeah, I can use this one, then clip that one, then the next one. So basically, we're cutting around we've got a joint there, a joint back there that you can barely see. It's a pretty decent product. So I want to be at least 16 or a little bit more. So once we get out of this, we're going to start back with how we normally set it up. But we're just basically, I didn't want to end the plank too close to the vent or too far past the vent. I wanted it just in the right spot. So let's just from here, that works out pretty good. And that gives me a decent piece on this end. Gets me into there. Yeah, I think I should just do that. Cut one at 32. See, I usually wear a pouch, but I've been lazy lately. So 32 gets me to here. That would mean that plank would move that much farther, which is alright with me. And then we would need a piece from here to here, right in front of the fridge. Well, I don't really want a joint there, but that gives me a 30-inch piece. Farther away from the joint. I would like that seam a little farther under the fridge. Let's say that. Right. $48. 1632.48. $48, that puts me there on the next joint back. So. Yeah. So I put the seam under the fridge. I'm just playing around with the seams, and you really can't see this one. It's pretty good. Stuff's not bad, I gotta say. $32 right there. But if I go back, then I got a really small piece of this end here. It's not a big deal. It's only 10 inches. It's under the fridge. I think that's what, it's literally 20 inches long. We should have extra pieces of the stuff we cut. So that's what I'm going to do. First, we got to install that one nicely. That one, it actually goes together really nice, this stuff. It's heavy. The seams are really good. This product's a good product. What do I gotta say? It is. Now, I've got this 16-inch piece, which I'm sure is big enough for here. So I'm going to turn it upside down so I get my mark. I don't want to be too tight. Just leave a little bit of space. And then I cut this thing, move the camera around a little bit. So then I'm going to use I feel like I don't have my bench here. I usually have a bench with me to cut off of. What's the point of bending over if you don't need to, right? So, I made my mark back here. Alright. Some people use like a snap machine. Some people use like a cutter. I use my skill saw. Because all you gotta do is turn the blade backwards on the saw. Move this out of the way too. So you just gotta turn the blade backwards on the saw. And then you can cut it whichever way you want. I stick my foot out to catch it. Alright, so it makes a little more dust than you want. That's probably why people will use a cutter or a knife. But that's not what we're doing here. Here we are. And now I'm going to lay it in front. I know that. I know where all the lines are. I can cut this perfectly. And how far back is that? That's 1 3/4. So we got our 1 3/4, and I'll show you the little bit of a trick we're going to do to do this floor here. So I got my 1 3/4 back. Now I just go nice and square. The stuff. Now we can cut it. So this can be used as one of my bashing pieces actually, now that that's cut an extra cutoff. I didn't have cutoffs before. Yeah. I got this. I got that multi-tool, but no point. There. Nice. A little bit of dust though. You get a nice clean cut. Everything looks good. If you want to be real perfect, you can clean up these edges just with a knife. Right? Just to get it nice and square. So we'll do that like so. Everything's nicely cleaned. Boom. We got our vinyl piece that we're going to put in right over there. Look at that. Now we just got to tap it in. But check this out. We just gotta tap it in. Tippy tap, tap it in. Just gotta tap it in. Then you throw one of these over the seams, the actual seam, and then you just. And then that should literally, if you got a little bit of a gap, you can just. This side. That's beautiful joint. Can't even tell almost. All right. Now we got to do this. This one's going to be a little bit of a special one. Because we're basically in line. So we want to make our marks right where we need it. Boom. And then boom. And see, here's where this lineup thing happens. You can kind of see there's a line on the edge there. So now that we're clicked in a few places, this actually has to move back. If you can get it to move back. Oh, floor has to move to there. Just because our hole is cut and lined up perfectly, we're still on the line back here. Right? I want to make sure that we're only cutting a little bit away. Now, it's going to be right on this seam here. Like it literally ends right where it's It's going to be weak in that spot. I probably should have. Well, what else can you do? It's going to be right on the strength, too, of this snap line back here, even though we're cutting such a small section out. And so this is my 2 marks I made. Bring that back. And we're going from that edge to 8 3/8. I'll go just a little bit less than 8 3/8. See, because we're going to have such a small spot here. This product is pretty good because like you can rub that line off, and usually pencil is really hard to get off of a lot of things. So we're gonna have a small little spine, but it's gonna be supported when the other floor clicks in. So I may actually just cut this right here with the grinder. And then we'll just do a quick vacuum. I just don't want to move that piece too much. So not to move the piece too much, I'm going to there, there's some support. I'm so glad my fur is able to actually absorb a lot of this dust. There. Then we're done with all the cutting, right? We'll make that edge nice and don't want that to move too much until it's in. Grab that vacuum. Okay. Now, put this guy in place. Look at that. Almost perfect. That's pretty perfect actually. I cannot make it any better than that. Alright, so where's my hammer? There it is. Oh, I got a little bit of a bigger piece. We can first we can tap it in nicely. And then I'll put that over the seam. And you just then move it to the edge. Just so you lock everything in real nice, right? Perfect. So our next piece is going, I think we're going to do that one at. So I kind of messed up the pattern a little. I got to go back. We'll go 32. Back, yeah. So we'll do. Now give it a really nice strong joint. From this edge I'll go 32. So then my piece, my other joint here is just, it's actually several joints back. But it's not too bad. So this next piece will be need a straight edge. A straight edge to measure from. So the whole piece is 26 1/8. And I'm under 16 there. Yeah, that'll work. Let's do that whole piece 32. Yeah, like I said. 32. And then minus the Just because I got this like angle here. So 32, boom. And this guy. I'm kind of making this angled cut here. 32. By 31 and a half. I make a better cutting station back there. Look at how nicely that vent has been cut out. Almost perfect. Vent's a little crooked in the floor, so it's sometimes hard to make a super amazing cut. But I'm going to quickly move this back this way, out of the way. We're going to snap our 32 in, and then we're going to just keep going. But like I was saying, it's really good when you get a piece of scrap because you want to use one edge to like kind of just tap the floor in. So we're going to cut that right now. So I don't need nothing too crazy. Probably won't need that piece, but I'll just hang on to it here. Okay, so when you're going to install it, you can just literally put that piece in now and just tap it. And it's good for smashing the joints down and everything else. Alright, so now we need a piece at 32. And I need to cut it off of this end here. Because I need this end to be exposed because there's only one way to do this. So we know that our measurement at the bottom was 32 and the top was 31 and a half. Just to accommodate for that, we've got like a little bit of a curve there. So now I've made my two marks. I could cut that bit of an angle. Most people wouldn't even cut that or make that cut. But basically what we're cutting for is, you see that line? So that gray channel is so that when we put our transition cap on top, it goes and locks into that gray channel. Most people leave massive giant gaps. I cut it nice and tight. That one I didn't do anything because it was basically one that was already cut, and I was like, you know, I can live with that, it'll cover. But 9 times out of 10, you'll see me cut it as precise as I can get it. So again, when you're using your skill saw, this is a shitty blade. I turn it around. I turn it backwards. Usually the saw cuts like this. You know, I actually should just change this blade. There's like no teeth on this. No wonder it's making it hard. So usually the saw cuts like this, so you turn the blade the other way, and it doesn't tear. It doesn't tear the work you're trying to do here. there we got our first piece. I'm just going to vacuum that off. Okay, now we're gonna slap this guy in here. Throw it from there to there. So I know I need this edge. Let's just click that in place. Work it over. Doesn't need to be super tight, but just like so. See how that piece just fell in real nice, right? I do like to. You don't need to. Sometimes you do. Like this one fell in real nice, but it's great for tapping our pieces in place. So that one went down nicely. Now we're just gonna throw in another piece, but I don't usually like cutting in my work area. I only did that because of how small that was left over. I didn't want to move the product around too much or I might break it. So I know there's a bit of dust from my cutting. Let's just keep that work area clean, right? So here we got another joint. Right? Oh yeah, there's one more thing. I wanted to keep everything on line here. So we got a line on the floor. There's like a little bit of a line we have on the floor that I'm just using as a good reference point of starting. So we got this line. See that line? That goes all the way through. So to keep this first row nice and straight, I'm going to line up my line so we're good on there. But we're a little bit off over here, so we'll just kind of just pull the. Sometimes you can pull the floor. All right, I'm going to have to. Move it over just slightly from here. There. Now we're right on the line. And because we're going to be tapping it in from here, and we're standing on it, it's not going to move. So, throw this next board in. This is where the tapping tool comes in. It comes in because it helps to just get everything nice and snug in. And then we just kind of. And then you got a nice, beautiful joint. That works the seam nicely. We can see it's a little bit raised. You know, that means we're going to give her a little bit of a tippy tap. There. This thing can come out slightly. Boom! Now I got a few more spots where we got to kind of just work our way back and out. We threw that vent in nice. Just drops right in. Probably should get a different color now. Well, this was the purpose of this line, was more or less so that when we line up around this corner, right, I lay this plank nice and flat on the line, and it's kind of like a measuring point. So where were we supposed to be? Now I can use that line, measure back, and cut my planks. So this is going to be our plank for back here. And everything was kind of strategically put in place to make the next part of our job easier. So just so you're not staring at just my back, this one probably should be pretty tight because of the door. And then this trim is going to sit there. So we basically gotta cut this section out, and then the rest is just gonna move forward. So our distance from there to there, 2.5, 2.5 has some play, which is good. You want a little bit of play. So 2.5 is how far we're coming back. Basically, you're going to go 2.5 back, and then from here, you can hold your pencil straight. So we gotta cut this out. And then that should be it for that. Mind you, that wall is probably not straight. So I'm going to double check. Because this wall is probably not, it wasn't straight when I did the line, so I might as well double check. This is going to go as far as there, boom. you want it as tight as you can get it. So we've got 6 5/8. 6 5/8. What do we have? We have, see how off our line is. Because vinyl should be perfectly straight. Wow, we're pretty much smack on that line, so that's not bad. That's not bad. All right. I always gotta watch so I don't smash my head off of this cabinet here. All right, so I'm gonna run down there, cut that piece. And then the best part is pretty much all the cutting is done for a little bit here. I'm sure you guys want me to show you how I cut it. So let's do that. Let's do that from this angle. It's probably even better. I just use this garbage can as a table instead of a chair. All right. Let's make sure we've got a half decent view for you guys. You know what else I'm going to do is I'm going to actually change this blade right now. Because I feel like the blade that's in the saw is no good anymore. So this has like a push button to stop the blade from moving. And it's a backwards thread, so don't forget that. Wow, there's like no teeth left on that. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. There's like literally almost all the teeth are missing off this blade, so it doesn't surprise me if the cuts aren't the greatest. So I got several blades, and usually you put it in the saw with the teeth facing up, so I just flip it around. So it's like basically skidding through. I wonder if that's why the teeth broke off. Maybe, I think those teeth were already kind of shot anyways. But nice on there. Lock the blade again and just give her a final tight. Throw the tool back to where it's got to go. And then undo it. Alright, let's see if it cuts better. A little loud.
You okay there, gorgeous animal? You need to be put in the other room, out of the... You got a nice cut there. Oh, there's a perfect smacking wedge right there. I guess let's see how this piece fits. Whoa, you're getting caught in the fan. Put this stuff back over here. Look at this. This should actually work out really nice. Let's see. Did a good job here. Oh my gosh, it's almost perfect. Oh my gosh. Look at that beautiful work. Let's go from here. Let's go from here. So, I'm gonna make this line up with the other one before I start smacking it in. Oh my God. I gotta stand on it. There. You know when it's in, when it actually falls flat. Alright, so now we got this little joint down here. We gotta kind of get in place. Once that's in place, and the whole floor is good. So I feel like that needs to be tighter. There it is. And we got it. There's a little bit of it's almost like these two gotta be. Because the two joints aren't really. Trying to make them line up. That's why I'm putting this across both. It's to pull it all together. And that way, that joint can. Oh, it's right here. Okay. Perfect. Now that's completely sealed there. It's really hard because we got a hump in the floor here. That's right where the joint is. Which is not crazy. It's not a really big problem because it's underneath that, and now we can snap the next board in. I'll show you from this angle here. I'm going to throw this next one in here. Now, this guy. This is where the tippy tapper comes into play. Probably better if I have them already. I want to kind of slightly lift it, just enough. To tap it in place. Kind of popping it out now. Why are you so much of a pain in my ass? I wonder if there's, because there's a little bit of a fucking hinge point right here. Put that there like that, so I can't move. Literally popped this back one. Son of a bitch. It's not what we want. I guess I gotta put. There we go. This has to just come down slightly. There it is. A little bit. It had to move. I like to hit these with my piece because it pushes it in just right. Perfect. Nicely sealed. See a little, just a touch closer to get that in. Everything's nice and tight there. Tight there. Well, now we got a bunch of cuts to make. So we got all of these to cut. Again, this goes against my rule of never having less than 8 inches off the end, but I guess I could have cut that one shorter. Whichever, it's under the fridge, so it's not a huge deal. It's a nice floor though. For picture wood. 48. So now we've got to cut this piece back here around the dishwasher. I needed that. So this is going to be fun. Got a few cuts to make. But now the floor is being held in place nicely. I need my tape measure. My tape measure. You know what? I got a piece here that can be cut. It's 28 inches long. What do we got here? So this piece is. We lose a foot off of this one. This one's going to be 45 1/4. I mean 3/4. 45 3/4. 45 3/4. There, and then this one is going to be this back little guy, 2 3/4. And this guy is going to be 19 3/4. Alright. We got 45 3/4, 19 3/4, 2 3/4. And now we're going to set up for this. So now when we measure, we're going to go 48 next. We'll actually cut it just in between this, 26. So 13. So let's cut this one. 45. So if we hook on that end, we go 45, we go 20 7, and to there is 41 1/2, 20 3/4. 41 1/2, 20 3/4. 20 3/4. 41 1/2. Pretty sure that's what I did. Yeah. And so I need to make an angle, so we're at 41 1/2 there. That's 44 1/2. And here let's just go 44 1/2. So the distance we're going to need from here, 6 1/4. That's our rip. 6 1/4, just leaving it a little bit from the wall. 6 1/4. have to leave a little bit tighter. 4.5. Okay, so we're 44.5 total length. Yeah. $44.5 total length. Alright. Let's lay this piece out and get it cut around the dishwasher. So we need to leave this end open. Out. So we got 20 3/4. My first mark. And then 41.5 for my total measurement. No, that doesn't make sense. Something's not right. So I got 41.5, and they're in two different places. Let's measure that again. Yeah, it was 44.5. My bad. Made a mistake. Happens, right? Let's keep it going here. So 41.5 was here. Now 44.5. What I need. That's my cutoff. Where is that longest square? This piece gets cut right off. This piece. Can give it 6. I think the rip was 6. 6.25 in total. 6. Six and a quarter. So and from here it's 4.25. So that gets cut out, that gets cut out. So here, check it out. Consult with the viewers. So there we got the end, our cutout, and then our cutout. So that's going cutout, back, cutout, and around. Boom. Let's give her. Well, you know what? I could probably even cut the next piece. I think it was 19 3/4. Oh, not long enough. Well, I'll just save this piece. And when I cut it. Hey, Pitbull, let me move this bed and put you in the other room so you don't have to listen to all this loud noise. Move. And breathe dust. It's not good for the Pitbull. Okay, go lay down in the other room. That's a beautiful guy. Just to save his ears from all this roaring that you're going to be hearing coming off the saw. It's a lot of cutting, right? So, what I'm going to do first is cut this. And then, cut this. Then I cut this. And I'll cut this. There. So now we can install that piece. Oh, it's a little, gotta go a little more. I gotta cut a little bit more here. I don't know what happened. Don't know what happened. So now 20 3/4. No, it's 21 3/4, that's why. I didn't even read my own measurements properly. 20 3/4. I put it at 21 3/4 for whatever reason. So, cut a little more off. That's why it's literally short, that tiny little bit. There. That's why it didn't fit. It's literally short that little bit. That's why it didn't fit. It's literally short that little bit. Should be good now. Alright, let's install this beauty. Now that we have the right measurement. Worked out good. Alright, this goes in. Oh my god. Mind you, something went wrong. It's too short. Son of a... How did I do that? It said 4.5. See, even the greats mess up. Somehow this piece is short 1/2 inch. How is that possible? How did I go 4 1/4 when it's supposed to be 4.5? That's silly. All right, I guess this piece can be used as something else. Well, I can use it for two things, really. I guess I can't. I guess I can only use. I screwed up a little bit. Can't do that too many times. Okay, I gotta get another piece out of the box. We're gonna use this to trace it and add an extra 1/2 inch right there. Let me just grab something 1 second. Alright, we need another piece. Wonder if I'm gonna have enough. It's supposed to be good for 100 and apparently this stuff's got a 30-year warranty. It's actually pretty good stuff, I have to say. Okay, so we'll use this to trace out. We made one mistake so far. We use this to trace out what we want. This is going to here, but it's going to be longer. This time it'll be 4.5 exactly. And I feel like this should also go a little farther in. So 20 3/4 should change. Well, not really. It's good enough. Yeah. So we're going to be able to use this somewhere else. Anyways. So the difference being that I needed 4.5 and 44. That's the difference. And we had 6 1/4 is what I got there. Yeah. 6 1/4. should work good now. Who needs a table saw when you just know how to cut? Right. You can throw this piece in now. There we are. Look at that. Beautiful fit. Beautiful fit. Hey, grab me a frozen yogurt. All right, boy. Needs me a frozen yogurt. Now that we're pretty much past the dishwasher, it should be. There. Perfect. Should get smooth sailing now. Just slapping down planks. Beautiful. measuring in between the seams to start my next row so they land nice and even. $50.50 for the next one. So we're going to cut 50.5. I left my pencil. See, we can cut our 2-inch piece out of this one now. That's for that end. We 2 3/4. 2 3/4. And we'll cut our 2 3/4 out of this. That way we can make 2 cuts. Since we're here, 1 cut, 2 cut. We don't damage that. Worked out good. Now we'll cut the other end. Battery must be dead. I'm gonna do this from the other angle now. Let me set up this camera on a whole different view here. We'll go from here. Slid it nicely, actually. But I'm gonna tap it just under the dishwasher here. There. Fits perfectly. So let us put our 2-inch piece that goes down. This piece goes for down here. Huh! I cut it too small. What am I on today? I don't get it. Good thing it's just a tiny piece. It doesn't really matter. Such a tiny piece. Alright. I don't know what I did there. That's just special. What did I do here? It's 3 3/4. Jesus! Not 2 3/4, 3 3/4. Duh. I have to get it from something else. Alright, well, now that we fucked that piece up, we're going to wait. And we're going to keep cutting these little pieces in front. Where did I put that stuff? Right here. Take that 16 from there. This is why you always need a pouch so you never like looking. Yeah, so if I just go 32. Then I'm at least out of the way of the next one. Yeah, 32 is right about there. 32. 32. That gives me 16 past. Yeah. I'll go to 18. I get 32 and a half. Let's see if I can cut another piece. We're done with that end. 45 is the next one, 19 3/4. Thirty-two and a half. 32 and a half, and I will do one at. Yeah. Thirty-two. 32 and then we go 21. 23 quarter. 16. So we're going to put another piece at 16 and then go from there. Alright, we got all that in. We've got a little over 3 and a couple boards for boxes. So now we're going to have to cut these pieces. $19 3/4, 45 3/4. And we also have to notch whatever this rip is. 06 3/8. from the back. Probably should plug my phone in because we only got 20% left. So this one, we're cutting it the right size this time. And from this edge, I need 6 3/8, I'm pretty sure. Six and 3/8. Oh, I almost screwed up. Almost screwed up. Yeah. I almost screwed up because I almost cut this off and I need this edge. So I gotta move that 6 3/8. To there. So yeah. Probably should be breathing vinyl dust. So that's an extra, it's got the back edge, I'm gonna need that stuff around the, what do you call it? I'm gonna need it around the sink. And then this is gonna be my 19 3/4. I'm gonna double check since I've been messing up my measurements lately. Let's go 19 7/8. Just a little bit bigger. By an 1/8. That should be what we need to fill in the back over there. Bring my pieces. This guy should just like Slide in there. Snapped in pretty good there. There we go. Perfect. I don't want nothing getting stuck underneath that floor. No one can say, oh, why didn't you fix that? $45 3/4 for the next piece. 45 7 is super tight. That's what we're going for. All right. $45 7. I wonder if I can got some pencil marks on that one. See if we can get them off. We know we can. We know we can. Man, it rubs off so nice. Look at how well this pencil mark rubs off. So that just shows you the durability of this floor. I don't know if you can see that. Right there. Watch. So this is my original cut for when I was putting the vent, to cut around the vent. And that comes off amazing. It's a good product. I gotta give him that. I gotta give him that. So 45 3/4 is what we need. We'll do 45 7. Yeah. So we're going to cut this guy here. So all the cuts I'm making don't have to be 100%. I like to challenge myself and make them as close to 100% as possible. But because like this is going against the wall, so. And this way I can just make sure I'm doing a half decent job here. That's pretty bang on, actually. So we're going to use that and then a full board. That's going to be good. So I'm going to set you guys back up over here. So you can see what's going on. So then this guy, we're going to need 2 full boards now. So that's the beauty of this. Is that now we're actually going to get things in quickly. Back in this. You know it's in when it just drops. When it just drops in. Now we can put down another board. Now things are going to go a lot quicker. Aside from having to open the boxes. These are heavy. Look at this, we're just flying now. I'm gonna put in this piece from here to here now. Just do a quick vacuum. And a few more. Might as well write them all down. Now here we got 32 and 5/8. Oh. I said I'm going to put all the small pieces at this end anyway, so that's not bad. 32 and 5/8, and then a full board, then a small piece, then a full board, then a large piece. Thirty-two and 5/8. Where did I put that? I had that piece. That's the piece for smashy smash. Thirty-two and 5/8. I have my pencil. Ah! Should have checked the other pocket. Alright. We're going to put it in place in that end and then put another piece. Will one fit here? I guess that's not big enough. I might have to take those baseboards off. Looks like I gotta take these baseboards off. Pretty sure I gotta take these baseboards off. Yeah, I want it tight. So there's only a little bit of baseboard anyway, so it's not a big deal. You usually want to score the top of your baseboard because there could be caulking. Score it with a knife. Most likely there's a lot of caulking, I can feel it. Oh. Try not to break it. These are actually oak. Old oak. Oak baseboards. Man, even though I cut that, still peeled the paint a little. Oh, come on! Seriously. Thick. There's a lot of caulking on this. Probably should just buy a new baseboard, really, to try to put this back. mess around too much there. 'Cause, these baseboards are. This paper is coming off the corner. Let's vacuum all that up. Two more boxes left. Eight and 3/4. You just need like a little tiny piece out of this. The pencil mark just rubs right off like it was never even a problem. All right, let's throw it in. I see some stuff that needs to be vacuumed. Oh. Look at how beautifully that's gonna go in. The wall is a little crooked too. Oh, it's so tight. That's way too tight. I got to trim this a little. That corner's a little off. So we're going to go over here, trim it. There. There. We're good. A lot of cutting, for sure. Beautiful.
All right, now got a little bit of cutting over there. So I know we need a 2-inch piece. This is why you need a pouch.
So this piece is 37 1/4. This piece is 20 7/8. And this piece is 2 7/8.
Not the right one. Oh, I think it works out perfect. What was that one? Oh no, it was 37 1/4. 20 1/4. 20 7/8. Will this one work out to be 20 7/8? Not even the right angle anyways. Need that guy. It's 15. So this one could be the 20 7/8. And this one could be the 2 7/8. There. Just gonna double check. Everything checks out. Cut this one.
$37.25. $37.25 is the next cut. $37.25 quarter. There's 2 more boxes left. I might need 1 more box. It didn't account for all the baseboard. $37.25. I think it's 3/4, but let's double check. $37.25. This piece is gonna get cut $37.25. Not so bad, not so dirty. So then I can throw this piece in right over here. you give it that tap and it falls down, which is what you're looking for. Make sure all the seams are good. All right. We can kind of keep going from this end now, and then we'll come back to the stove area because we got a whole bunch of like tiny pieces to rip. And you may wonder what I'm talking about when I say rip. So when you're ripping a piece of any kind of, like, say, let's say this is not wood, but let's say it's wood. The grain is going this way, right? You can see grain is going this way. So if you're doing a cut, a cross cut, this goes across the grain, and rip goes with the grain. So when you're ripping, you're going with the grain. It's just something we call ripping because we're taking a piece out of a normally wide sheet, right? So I'm going to flip that back. We're going to get our measurement for over there. And I'm thinking I could actually use these pieces over in this area. This looks like it would fit perfectly. Should be 16 inches away. Worst case scenario, if we have to, we'll cut it. We gotta cut 4 inches out of it. Especially since it's by the door. You want your gaps to be as wide as possible over the joints. Yeah, I'll just take 4 inches out of that piece. And then that'll work. That'll work well on oh, wait a minute. For this piece, 14. See how this works. Maybe I could just use it. Well, if I do that, then I can throw a whole 5-foot piece there. Yeah, let's do that. So it's actually working out pretty good. Now I'm gonna go cut this one 58 inches. I kind of want to put the joint somewhere else over here. I could always use this by the stove. Or use this for the last one, but that's still right in front of the door. I could even use it over there. Doesn't have to be right here. This is kind of not in the path. That's why I'm putting this here. People are mostly going to step in this area when they walk through. It's just to keep the joint from buckling open. Right? Because when you walk through the door, you're going to walk in. I want to limit the amount of joint in front of the door. So if I can put some joints somewhere here, would be ideal. It's basically, you want to put everything in a place where it flows and doesn't break down more. Let's just put a full one here. I can just put one full one, and then the next joint can be a little farther past. Yeah. That works. There. That way there's no joint right in front of the door. Then I'll make the next one over here somewhere. I wonder if that works out without having to put a crazy strip. Oh, we're gonna have to put some caulking in front of the door. It literally finishes with a little bit of strip left. How far does that washing machine come out? 30 inches, that joint will be right on the leg. I'm gonna do so 16 is there. 30 inches is right where the washing machine leg goes. So we'll just hide the joint under. We'll go a foot past on this one. So make this one 48.
This should work.
And then that's the kitchen almost done. At least we're that much closer. You know what? I should make it just long enough that I can use that piece for this back spot here. What is this? 12 3/8. 12 3/8. It's going to be a few inches shorter. That means I can use that piece as the next piece. Now to get this piece in place, this is where things will get interesting, I'm sure. I'm sure because I'm going to get under that door jamb. How are we going to do that? If we go in first, there should be just enough room. May have to trim the teeth off of this all the way back. Just to get this to fit. So, what I'm actually going to do now to get this to fit is I'm going to cut this all the way up. I'm going to use this to get it in. All right. So see what I mean? We just trim this off. It should just snap in place real nice. Because it does go past the wall. I might even have to just lift the floor. Slightly. All because I didn't take off this door jamb. I need it to raise just slightly. I wonder if I could just like pull it off enough that I could lift it. Just that door jamb looks pretty rickety. I have to raise it just enough to get it in. Doesn't want to go in unless I pull this door jamb off enough to. Gotta pull this casing out slightly. What to do. Let's revisit this after, because we can mess around with the stove. Or should I just do it now? I just feel I'm going to need that. Just enough. But I gotta cut some of this drywall away here. pretty. I could get this out the same way I put it in. Oh yeah. Of course, that trim would break there. It shouldn't have broken, period, but here we are. Cut this back. No matter what I'm doing, I'm taking this trim off, it seems like. Just makes sense now. Fuck! Of course it's gonna fucking, it's just shitty trim. Alright, I think I'm getting tired because I haven't eaten yet. So we can pop this out now. Should just come out, no problem. Just kind of. Push that out. Same way it went in. Might as well vacuum everything again. I think after I put this piece in, I'm taking a break. because I've been going since 8 o'clock. What time is it now? It's like 2. So we'll put this guy in again. There. I'll use our little tapper here. It's all tapped in nicely. Let's grab this other piece. Do it. Oh, it's dirty on the side. Let's get that off. See, it's funny how it going in from this way, it just falls in place. Literally snapped right in perfectly. Okay, now we have no joints in front of the door except for that one, but that's basically where the door line is. So most people walk in the middle, so that should be good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am getting really tired. Haven't eaten yet. Aside from the cookies I ate before I started. So I'm going to take a break. If you guys want to come back and watch this later, it'll be later on, maybe an hour or so from now. Thanks for watching. You can see what we've done so far. Let me just get this phone out of here. So we've basically gone around the door here nicely. We've got that dry vent to cut out, another piece for there. We've walked all the way around, notched all that out. There's going to be a little strip that goes in here. It's basically sitting here. We're just going to drop that in. And then our cap is going to go over top of that. It's going to cover both floors. We've notched around the cupboard. And obviously we've done the floor vent around the washing machine all the way there to there. Look at this beautiful floor vent cut. It's like perfect. It's right where it needs to be. There you have it. Texas Mickey Jack here. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to come back. We're going to finish this today. We just need to take a break and go for lunch. And then we'll be back. Have a good day. Bye.